I knew that was about to happen. I knew that was going to happen. She always checks the sound, and I was expecting it to fire up, and it did, which means we're back. What's up, everybody? This is Geared Up. This is our weekly live broadcast where we talk about gear, we talk about lighting techniques. We do breakdowns. We have fun talking about lighting, taking your questions, and just hanging out. Today, I wanted to talk about keeping your light simple. Something that I always have inside my camera bag are these two units. And I guess it coincides with the bundle that we now have for these two units. But in my bag, my camera bag, I always have an A2. It's like literally can just pop it down in like a lens spot. And then I have this little tiny remote right here called the Connect. You know, with the Connect Pro and stuff like that, I think this thing doesn't get the love that it deserves. Its simplicity is what makes it so awesome. It's very, very tiny, really compact, easy to use. We'll dive into that here in just a second. But the space that this takes up in a bag, hold on, let me throw this back in its little silicone cover. You could literally set that in there and that on top of it inside your bag, and you have a light ready to rock and roll in your bag at any time, which is very, very cool. We've talked ad nauseum about what the A2 can do. We're going to talk some more about it, and we're going to dive some deeper into what it can do here in the coming weeks. But just to show you, I think, a really underappreciated combination between the Connect and the A2. And so with that in mind, we're going to do three really, really simple light setups with just these two. And I'm going to throw in a modifier, play around with the reflector a little bit, just to kind of judge the light the way that I want to. Again, the cool thing about some of the stuff I'm doing is you could use things in the environment or lesser expensive versions of things to achieve some of the stuff I'm going to do. But for the most part, it's going to be a light. And then I have a click softbox over there on the ground that will break out here in a few to do that. But the first look that we're going to do is one of my favorite looks. It's a hard light look. I think hard light gets a bad rap because it presents a lot of shadows that people don't always like, because what I feel like a lot of people are trying to do is they're trying to point the light, or they're trying to pay attention to the light, and they're not paying as much attention to the shadows. And then your shadows start to fall in a place that you're unhappy with. And so therefore people are like, oh, hard light's too harsh for me, and I don't like to use it. So again, the thing whenever you're shooting with hard light is pay more attention to the shadows than you necessarily do to the light. And I think you'll find you get a lot better results that way. That being said, we're going to go ahead and dive into these looks. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to pop them in there. We'll talk about some stuff. But the first look what we're going to do is, again, a hard, oh, you know what? I want to talk about one thing first. Let's do a little technicalities on the Connect before we dive into the shots. Now that I'm thinking about, now that my train of thought's coming back into the station, let me get this A2 hung back up, upside down, which means I'll probably drop it at some point. Now we're good. So cool. With the Connect, sometimes people are like, hey, you know, I don't know how I would handle using this remote with no buttons on it. So essentially, control-wise, should I get up close and personal with them? Let's see if we can do this here. So for the most part, the controls in the back of this thing, there's three controls. The first one is the easiest one to understand, which is off. You want me to go over here? Yeah, let's do it. Let's get close. All right, cool, we're in. So you have, there's not a ton of light over here, so we're going to work with what we can. So, oh yeah, there you go. Thanks, Kate. Look at you producing. So cool. You can see that we have three settings. We have off, we have automatic, and then we have manual. And then you just have a light on top to let you know that, hey, everything's happy. It's going to turn blue once it connects. That little flash right there, even though you couldn't tell as well, that was blue. That was it saying, hey, I've connected to your phone. Some people go, you know, I'd like to be able to control this unit without having to connect it to my phone, which is totally understandable, especially if you're out and about on a shoot. What you can do, and the way that I use this a lot, is in our, what I call an auto exposure lock method. So you can actually take your first shot in auto mode and then flip it over into manual, and it locks that power setting into place. What's cool is if you shoot it into auto and you're like, I'm not happy with the exposure, maybe it's a little over, a little under, you can go into your flash exposure compensation and drop it down or boost it up the amount that you need. And then once you take that shot, you can flip it over into manual mode and lock that thing into place. So again, it's working with your and learning your system in a way that makes you highly efficient. So with my GFX, for example, here, let's you want to jump over here to this wide cam and let me show people what I'm talking about here for a second. Yeah. So I'm going to try to put this into the camera view so you could see what I'm doing. It might help, it might not help. I need to drop it down. Is that fine right there, Caitlin? Yeah, I'll tap the screen and get it in focus. Oh, the little eye sensor. Cool, is that better? Cool, just for like a quick reference. So again, you could be in automatic mode up here with the Connect. And so on my camera, and the beautiful thing about a lot of these cameras is you can assign functions to buttons that you don't use. Like I never use the auto exposure lock button on my camera, never have. I'm sure if you explain to me what it did, that's awesome. But for the way that I work, I don't need it. So what I've done instead is I've assigned my flash settings there. So I can simply jump in here and then ride the flash exposure compensation up and down if I need to. So again, then one button click and I'm out. So you can do all this stuff, like just customize your buttons. Some cameras have this built into them already. I know the wide cam's now out of focus because I got all crazy, but let's just do this. Some cameras have a flash exposure compensation button already built onto them. I know like if you see a plus or minus with a little flash bolt next to it on your camera, that's your flash exposure compensation. You can either click that button and go into the menu or hold it down and turn a dial. Again, just explore your camera and the way that it works for you. But the cool thing about the setup, again, is it's quick. Once you learn your work style, like that's my work style. So I have a button assigned to the front so that I can look through my screen. So I'm not getting a preview of my exposure when I'm in a studio because that doesn't really work. And then my back button that I have set to my flash settings, that allows me to get in and out of that menu really, really fast. So again, yes, there's no extra buttons on the thing, but that's the simplicity of it that makes it so beautiful. And then once you kind of learn your system, you're in it. And the upside is it's insanely compact. So it's, again, easy to keep within your bag. So now that I've talked to you a little bit about how you control the unit, now let's take some photos. We're going to be using the A2, again, by itself, no other lights. The only other thing that you'll see me present into some of the shots is a reflector or a V-flat, which, if you don't have a V-flat, you could easily do what we're going to do with a wall. A white wall. I would shy away from like a red or a green or something like that unless you're going for that gelled look. But you can use a wall really, really easily. And then for one shot, I will be bringing in a white reflector again, or I think I use the silver side. You don't have to use a reflector. You could use a piece of poster board or a white sheet or whatever else you have that can reflect light back over. Again, I'm just moving my light around a little bit, but with just one flash head. So cool. The first one is a hard light look. Oh, my screensaver has decided to kick in. There we go. Is a hard light look. Let's rotate this camera around so that you can see everything I want to see. I'm going to be shooting this directly overhead. In proximity to Kate, it's going to be pretty close. The reason I want it that way is I want the light to fall off fast. And so that's what it's going to do. So get you right up here. Is it in your red mark? Oh, no, it's in your blue. It's in your blue mark. Blue. Yep. Yeah. Cool. So we're going to bring the A2 in here, relatively close and above. I want the light to kind of cascade down. What it's going to do, and you can kind of already see there on the shot that we took earlier. It's going to kind of give like this really nice shape to her face. It's going to highlight cheekbones. Really, really pretty stuff. And again, personally, I love hard light. Again, just remember, pay attention to the shadows. So the way that we have her positioned, her face will be kind of up a little bit. Her nose will be up a little bit. Again, controlling some more of those shadows, getting some more of that light, getting some more of the light into her eyes. So let's get set here. And again, all we do is we have our Connect Pro set to, sorry, not Connect Pro, just the Connect set to auto. My camera, sorry, hang on one more second, Kate. So another thing that's going to help you be a little bit more successful with the TTL modes with a lot of the stuff is going into a spot meter mode. And with a lot of the new cameras, the eye autofocus is really, really good. I know the eye autofocus of my GFX is really good. And what's cool about that is it puts the spot meter right on the eye, right where I want to exposed for. So for the most part, it does a really good job. I know earlier my camera was having a little bit of a conniption fit and it kept trying to like focus on her shirt. I just had to reset my camera and come back to it. But ever since then, it nails it pretty close. And then again, we can flip manual mode. I say that now, it's probably not going to happen when I take this first shot. But the eye autofocus acting as your spot meter is a really nice setup. So here we go. Wait for Kate to kind of settle in. 3, 2, 1. Okay, and that's not bad. It's maybe a little overexposed for what I would like. So I could either open up my app and turn that power down, or I could quickly go into my menu. I could go down a third of a stop. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's see. Probably need to come down just a hair more. 3, 2, 1. Love that. That's the exposure I want. And then all I do is flip over into manual on the Connect Pro. And now I'm kind of set up. So let's take another one, Caitlin. Yeah. 3, 2. It's lovely. And again, it's a really simple light. We didn't even use a modifier on this unit. So this is just the A2 kind of bare, just giving us this nice down light so that you can see, like these really beautiful shadows. Granted, on your screen, it's going to be a little more contrasty than it is on mine. We're kind of set in a way to where she doesn't, again, you can't necessarily see it because of the contrast, but we're set in a way that she doesn't go totally dark, so we don't lose her in the background. There is, she does have definition around her body, and then the background's kind of like this dark gray. We could play with that some more if we wanted to. I could always back the light up a little bit. Here, let's just show you really fast. If you don't like the way that the background's going, this show you how simple you can change this stuff up. So hop back in here, Kate. Let's get you back in your spot. So all I'm going to do is back. No, I'm going to have you stay in the same spot and just show them that by moving the light back a little bit. So we're going to move the light back, and I'm going to go maybe up a touch more. But there, we move the light back. So we should get a little bit more light to the background now. Let's go back into auto mode because the light moved. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. A lot more light made it to the background now, which is very interesting. It's a little more overexposed, and it's way more over than I'd like. So let's go in here and pull back my exposure. 3, 2, 1. There we go. So it's not necessarily what I would play with a little bit more. I like the look before a little bit better, but it just goes to show you that you can make tiny adjustments with a simple light setup to get to the place that you want to get to. And again, I just went into my flash exposure compensation and I compensated down from that a little bit of overexposure, which is to be expected. It sees Caitlin wearing a lot of darker colors and her hair is darker as opposed to her skin tone. So the TTL sometimes is going to try to overexpose that. So again, I have a quick fix for that. And that's what we did. Slowed over to manual mode. We're good to go. So that was the first look. Again, a basic A2, just overhead. I used a grip arm. Depending on your lens selection and stuff like that, you could probably get pretty close to over the top of your camera just by keeping your light stand tight. I could have probably went with the 110 lens and been able to back up a little bit and done the same thing. I just decided to go grip arm because I'm going to be using it again right now, as a matter of fact. So the next shot is with the Click Octa, the 2.7. So let's kind of get that like this. I'm going to keep all this stuff there. Let's go. And then so what we're going to do is we're going to take the 2.7 Octa and we're going to kind of shoot downward. Let's get it clicked into place. Not quite. There we go. So we go here. Cool. And so what we're essentially using this as, you ready, Kate?
Sure.
What we're going to use this as is a kind of like a hair light and a light coming from above. And then we're going to take the reflector and we're going to shoot light back towards her face a little bit. The thought behind that, and here I'll show you why we're going to do that. That probably makes more sense. Come forward a little bit. Sure. There we go.
Okay. And then just like here, yeah.
Stand forward. I'm just going to put the light kind of in place. Yeah, like kind of like right there because I want a little bit of hair light. So the idea behind this is for a little bit of this light to hit her hair and give us some hair light. So this light's going to go forward. I'm going to take the reflector and push some of it back into her eyes. So when we shoot it like this, here, let's go. Yeah. When we shoot it like this, it's going to, let's go on 3, 2, 1. Obviously all the light from her eyes is gone in the shot. I don't love that. It's not necessarily the look that I want, but I do have this nice hair light and everything else kind of has these weird shadows on it. So what we're going to do is take this reflector. So you can do it from underneath. I don't love this look. This is not one of my favorites. Here, let's go here. Let's go from below. I'll show you how I'm going to use it here in a second. 3, 2, 1. So you can do the reflector from below. It's not one of my favorite looks. The upside is it's going to give us a catch light back in the eye, which we didn't have here because obviously that light's so far above. But what I would do and what I like to do, actually, what I'm realizing is I'm going to kick. We're a little bit, center you up a little bit more. There we go. And we're going to hit hardware.
You need a scooch?
Yeah, scooch just a hair right that way. Perfect. Yeah, we have some hardware on the ceiling that we use to mount things. There we go. Perfect. And so what I like to do is I'll bring the reflector in pretty close like this, and I'll kick it back just a little bit so it grabs a little bit more of that light, and I can see my hand just off the screen. We'll go 3, 2, 1. And so that's going to start kicking light back more the direction I want. This is not 100% the light that I wanted. Let's go. You know what? I just realized what's going on. I'm still compensated down from the shot a minute ago. Yep, one whole stop. There we go. So here's the shot again. When we're no reflector, not compensated. 3, 2, 1. I don't love it. Again, so let's bring that back here. Here we go. 3. And then go nose towards the reflector a little bit. There we go. 3, 2, 1. And that's starting to look a lot better. So we're getting a catch light in the eye. We're getting this nice hair light. I would probably adjust your bang right here a little bit because it's letting some extra hair through, or it's letting like a strip of light through.
Once.
Yeah. It's going in. So go nose towards the reflector. And again, because we're shooting relatively close, we can get the reflector in there pretty good. Oh, that bang is like, no, dude, we're here. 3, 2, 1. And that's a really nice light. Love that. So again, we're getting this nice hair light, this nice light on the shoulders. Some of that light's hitting the background. And then we're getting a solid catch light in a place, at least for me, that makes more sense than a catch light coming from below. And again, we'll look at these in a second. Let me 5-star that bad boy just so I can come right back to it. So again, that is just this 2x7 Octa from above, using it as a hair light and then a little bit of a downlight and catching some of that with the reflector from the side and pushing it back into her face. And I think it's nice, it's soft, it's subtle, it's really pretty.
Oh, let's see. Nick Benson would love to see you throw in an A10 to see how it can fill in the shadows.
100%. So I could throw an A10 into this. The idea behind this is to not introduce a second light. So I don't necessarily want to do that today, but we 100% can do some more. We'll put it in the schedule to do some more 2-light stuff, especially with the A10 on top of the camera, because that's a great way of bringing back in it's a great way of bringing back in catch lights in the eyes, especially whenever you're shooting with the light at a dramatic angle, kind of like what we were doing just then, straight from above. So not today, but I will show you, we're going to use the V flat to make something feel a little bit more like a 2-light setup right now when you're still working with just one. So, and
it says also, the Click Magnum and Grid are magic.
They are.
Make the A2 even more versatile.
Yep. So for what they were just saying is this little reflector right here. So in the studio situation that I use here, because we're battling a lot of video lights, I generally always have to be at like f8, my lowest ISO of 100, and I keep my shutter speed as fast as I can before I go into high speed sync. But sometimes, and we may run into that here in just a second with the softbox, depending on how much I have to play with the difference of it, I might not have enough power. You might hear a loud beep from the A2 saying, "Hey, we're out of power range. I don't know that we got a good exposure," and so that's just something you have to kind of keep in mind. Whereas you could always use something like Magnum and get some more light output from that as well. So it's a really, really great modifier. Good call out on Magnum. Cool. So let's get you in here really fast. You want to jump on your marks?
Is this explaining?
Yeah, I think red is where we were. Cool. We're trying to be organized with our different.
We're professionals.
We are professionals. Pros. Okay, cool. And so what we're going to do is we're going to bring this V flat in. Again, you could do this with a white wall. It doesn't have to be a V flat. I just happen to have a V flat. I'm saying that because sorry if that's tilting towards you a little bit. I've got a Pro 11. Also, you don't have to have a Pro 11 either. I have a big.
Lots of goodies.
Yeah, have something. So what I like to try to do is I'll look at my frame. My V flat's just creeping into the frame, so I'm going to back it out there. That way we have some of the light that's going to be coming from behind, hitting this, and then covering more of her face. I don't want it to be overly dramatic, but this is going to give us a nice hair light. Actually, I think I'm going to go up a little bit higher with it. And this way we can try to catch a little bit more of the V flat without having Caitlin's face kind of blocking the light modifier. So again, what we're doing here is we're taking the softbox, we're throwing it this way, and then we're going to get a beautiful light coming back towards Kate right here. So ready to rock it? Oh,
yeah.
There's my. And then you have to play with it a little bit to make sure you don't have the light in the scene. Cool. Ready? I think she's sending somebody an email. Oh, yeah. No, you're good. So I'm going to just play with this angle a little bit to get it out of my shot. So go nose towards the camera really fast. See if this creeps onto your face. It's not what I want to happen. So we'll have to poke it. And again, this is all playing with your angles, seeing what works. 3, 2, 1. That's not bad. So you heard that loud beep. What the A2 is saying is, hey, I think you need more power. It's not a bad shot. I do need a little bit more light out of it. So what I'm going to do is try to push in and still stay out of frame. If I can. I'm going to have to change my angle a little bit. Let's see what we're doing. Nope, I think we might be fine here. 3, 2, 1. Much better. So we're able to kind of push that light in. We have a really nice hair light come in from her left side, and then, or from my left side, her right side, and then that nice subtle fill from the V flat coming in from the other direction. It's a really nice, soft, beautiful light. The light's flying around the studio enough too to keep her separated. So like her black shirt is separated from the background from the lighter look of the background, and then the hair light separates her a little bit more. So let's see if I can push in just a touch more without getting into the shot with the flash and see what happens. The fun thing about lighting is you get to experiment. You get to try a whole bunch of different stuff. So we go 3, 2, 1. That's probably a little bit more overhead light than I'd like. So I would back this up a little bit. And then this is probably going to start showing in the scene. Let's see. Yeah, I can kind of see an Octa box behind your head. Just kind of. Let's go here. Let's boom up just a hair more. See if we can get that out of there. Just see what happens. I can still kind of see it, but that's fine. We'll roll with it. We'll roll with it. There. I'm just trying to see if I can get that corner to go away. So the whole idea with this is to try to get the light in closer so that we can, there we go, that'll be fine for right now. There we go. Come back nose to me a little bit more. There we go, 3, 2, 1. That's really nice. It's probably a short lip, maybe a hair more than I'd like, but it's still really nice. I think kind of before when we were here, I really like that shot. That's really pretty. But again, it's a real subtle thing you play with. And again, I'm up against the constraints of the powers that I have to use to overcome my video lights that are going on while we're doing this. I could easily pull back from F8 to like 5.6 or F4. Or I could even, if I wanted it to feel a little bit more soft, I could go with, you know, a 2.8, or this lens goes to 1.7. So I could really open up if I wanted to, or if I could in this situation. And so that makes it a little bit tougher. But again, you can play with a lot of the stuff in your environment to make really cool images. So let me pull my computer out. Let's pull up all 3, talk about them real quickly. Take any questions if you have any. Get in my little spot. Here we go. Oh. It's locked down. Laptop's trying to spin away from me. There we go. So we've got this one. We have this one. And we have this one. Again, 3 different looks completely. So this right here, a really nice hard light look. Again, we're getting a lot of definition in the face. That hard light's really defining that jawbone. Really pretty stuff. Definitely more of a butterfly type light. Starting to get, yeah, so there's the butterfly under the nose. More of a butterfly, that Paramount style light right from above, but because we're up, we have her cheating her face up a little bit and filling in a lot of those shadows. Again, hard light, pay attention to your shadows a little bit more than you pay attention to your light, and I think you'll find that you like the results more. Here with this shot, we went overhead with the Octa. Again, a really, really simple shot to give us a little bit more hair light, a little light on the shoulders. And then we took that reflector and then we kissed that light back into her face. So we still have a nice catch light. So there's some life in the eyes. Whereas, when the shot was from above and the eyes go dark, it doesn't feel, you don't feel as close of a connection with it, at least to me. So that brings some life back to the eyes. And then again, it just kind of kisses the light into where it needs to, fills in some more shadows. So, and if we needed to play around with the settings, we could, or if we needed to play around with the reflector replacement, you could. And then here is kind of like this just real gentle light setup with a really nice soft light from above here, giving us kind of like a nice hair light, a little bit of a rim back here. And then we're just kissing that light into a V flat, kicking back out into her face to make sure that, it doesn't become a silhouette shot like that. Something really, it's a real delicate light. Again, you don't have to use a V flat. You can use a wall or a poster board, whatever you have. You can use a collapsible reflector. It doesn't really matter. All we're doing is gathering the light from one direction, throwing it back the other direction. So really, really simple stuff. Any other questions about anything?
No, but let's see. You two are quote unquote a secret weapon in the U.S.
Appreciate that. So again, it's really simple to make really cool lights, really cool lit images with one light. You just have to understand what that light's doing, just like we were showing you with that hard light, where if you decided you didn't like how dark the background was going, just to understand that you could back that light up just a little bit. She didn't move, the background didn't move. We just backed the light up a hair to get some more of those photons back towards the background to give a little bit more separation. Again, it didn't need it quite so much from my screen because we don't have the contrast that y'all do, but still really nice stuff. But again, it doesn't take a lot. A really compact light setup, an A2, a Connect, knowing how to use your gear to make it work for you really, really quickly. That's a win-win for me. I don't think we have anything else, right? We're good? Cool, awesome. We have a lot more stuff coming up. We have some cool things happening now that we're coming back from our little bit of a break in August. So please tune in. Let us know if you have any suggestions of stuff you want to see. I know that we already have one comment. Someone wants to see some more stuff with like the A10 and the A2 and doing some multi-light things. I'll put that on my schedule and we'll get that done. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. I know Kate's probably going to throw up my Instagram handle. That's the easiest way to get in touch with me. I'm more than happy to answer anything. Sometimes I might not see your message request send me another one. I try to stay on top of that stuff, but sometimes they come in too fast for me to kind of hang on to. Either that or my friends and I are sending each other memes and it gets buried. So just send me another message. It's probably the second one more than it is the first one. So, but just message me again. I'm not ignoring you. Sometimes I just miss things. So, but yeah, in the meantime, I hope you have an awesome rest of your week. Again, if you have any questions, reach out. If you have any suggestions, reach out. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Peace out, everybody.